Welcome, Darla Delayne. How are you? I'm so happy that you're joining me on One Hell of a Conversation, Real Women, Real Stories. I appreciate you taking your time. And I want to introduce Darla. She is the owner of She's CEO. So I can't wait to hear more about you and what you do. So tell us how you started your journey, why you got here, why you wanted to be that female entrepreneur, and any of your stumbling blocks and so forth. We want to hear it all. So please take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So appreciate you supplying this platform for those of us who really want to get out what we're doing and share that too. So it's just an awesome idea. Love that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So I'm probably in this space, one of the, I'll just say I'm the OG. And I used to not tell how old I am, but I'm 59.
Good for you. You look 59.
Thank you. So I'm starting to own it because I've decided to age backwards now. So that's like a good thing. But I used to not say it because I was buying into some ageism and to some pieces around that. I mean, having lived this long, I've lived through a lot of different isms that we that we as women do, and I'm like, what am I doing putting that on myself right now? No. Right. And so it is a sage time for me. It is this time where I really do have this wealth of experience and life experience as well as business experience, and that is what makes me a little more unique now, being in this space and doing that. So that is the preface to how I got here. So I am a multipotentialite. Have you heard of this?
That's a new one for me. Please share.
Oh, I love it. Another space in which I let go of shame and guilt. There is a TEDx talk on multipotentialites. If anybody wants to watch that one, it changed my life. Some people are really, they know their one passion, like from an early age, and they deep dive that their whole life, right? And then there's some of us who do more of a linear, there's usually a common thread, but we try different things and we dive deep really quickly and come back up and usually do something with it and go on to the next. And it looks as if there's nothing related until one day you turn around and go, oh, I see how all this fits together. So that's me. So cool. My threads are education and psychology. So educational psychology. My parents were teachers, my aunts and uncles, everybody was a teacher in my family, and psychology is just my passion. And then entertainment is the other. I was a dancer, I was in theater in school, band, twirling, all the whole bit, right? And so these two pieces kind of became the thread throughout. So I started as a school teacher. I taught elementary, middle school. Then I did corporate training. And then I sold World Book encyclopedias door to door for a while.
Wow.
Then I built a team and trained the team. And I was really awesome at training the team, right? The sales part I wasn't as great at the time. And went back to teaching for a while, then became a mortgage loan officer. And that parlayed my whole real estate experience. So I've been a loan officer, a realtor, I've owned a brokerage, I did marketing, I've been a processor, I've been a stager, kind of done all of that. And then from there, I became an actress at 48. I stopped all of that and full-time became an actress. I was living in Austin, moved to New York City, and acted there on stage and film, commercials, all of that good stuff. And then of course, wanted to be the boss, so became a producer, director, writer, and then trained people how to do that, right? It's like each day was like, and then trained people how to do that, the real estate as well. And I went back into real estate for a little while, and then came the, in the story, the big climax, where the big problem happens that she's got to solve.
Yes.
That was that. So I ended up having a divorce that was very messy. And I had 4 kids. And I've got 3 biological kids, and I have my daughters adopted, so 3 boys and a girl. And I ended up being a single mom 3 teenagers at the time, and we lost everything.
Wow.
Everything. And then some, deep debt, and a lot of trauma around all of that. And at that point, I had been so accomplished in so many areas that it really took the wind out of my sails. It was like, what, like, I'm smarter than this. I know more than this. What the heck is going on?
Yeah.
And that's when I really started my quest for a way. It was out of that just really deep, dark night of the soul, heroine's journey time, that this quest for a better way, to that I was no longer available to not be happy, that I knew that there was a way for me to have everything that I wanted, even at the same time, and be happy with that, and not settle, and not self-abandon, and not keep putting everybody in front of me, and actually have that. So I started that search, and in that, I got happier. Things started working better. My kids really came out of some dark spaces for them and got better. And that's when I got into life coaching. I thought that was the thing that I had done. So I did do that for a little bit and missed business. I'd be in a life coaching session. They'd start talking about their business, and I'd want to, like, let's talk about it. Let's dig in there, So instead of like melding, I completely switched over and did business coaching, marketing, strategy.
Okay.
And it was at that time that I really realized I wanted to do both. And there was this thing about a rule that you couldn't, or something in my head. And I was like, no, I can't. I can't do this. And I started doing that. I did go to work for my mentor, and worked inside her multi-million-dollar business for about 1.5 years, running some programs, leading coaching and sales, and in there learned so much. It was such an awesome opportunity for me. And then the calling of my own entertainer love for being in video, out there saying what I'm doing and really wanting to create my own thing, was just too strong. And I said yes to myself, and stepped out of that, had a really beautiful completion there, and have rebooted my business as She's C.E.O. And that started from this thing around time. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. It is so awesome how we can manipulate it and do things. And so it is about, the CEO is about being calm from a really centered, strong space, energized, not manic, not running like a chicken with their head cut off on the wheel, but energized, and then organized in a way where we're not leaving anything out, where everything in our life is there, and our business. So that's where I've started that, and realized that there was a little bit of a gap between where most women were and where we needed to start, and that was in their decision making. And so that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I've got a free little mini course that we're going through right now called the Decision Escalator, and that's what we're doing now to move into working with the calm, energized, organized that will be next. So that's where I am, and that's how I got here.
I love it, because I mean, in some ways, I'm going to go watch that TEDx first of all, because I'm 47 myself, and have,
and you don't look it either. I thought you were looking in your mid-30s.
Oh, God bless you. Yeah, no, 47, 3 kids, the oldest almost 30, 21, 18, and 13 this year.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, so, kind of the same thing. I get how you you did all the different jobs, and you did what you were supposed to do, and kind of, did that, never got to the right ladder that you really wanted, type of thing. So I totally get that. And I love that you continually reinvent yourself to find really what your passion is, but have, dove into so many different things, because so many different things, even though we traveled that ladder, definitely help, right? And what you do, and all the little nuances that you may have learned along the way, working with salespeople, listening to some marketing techniques, whatever it may have been, is interesting.
Yeah, I had a little stint in there when I was first starting my life coaching business, where I sold Mary Kay.
Oh, yeah.
And so I have had, I tend to have clients that are in real estate, or they're in direct sales like Mary Kay or something, or they are, doing something with their business along the lines of, I work with creatives a lot, because they, I have one that's, she's a script writer, and so it's like, I know the world there, and they tend to like trust a little bit more because of knowing that world.
Yeah.
And so that's been really helpful, is that I've been there. And it's interesting because I really felt a definite sense of completion with each one. It wasn't like, oh no,
Yeah.
this isn't it. I loved what I was doing every time I was doing it.
Right.
It was more of like, I'll come back to this somehow. It was like, I've done all I want right here now. This is complete. I'll be back. It'll somehow work its way through, you know, and it tends to kind of do that.
That's a good way of playing it, being complete. I always just say I got bored. Like I just wanted something else to do. Like I knew this isn't what I always wanted to do. Like you said, I was enjoying it while I was doing it, but then you get to that point where, not like that's a good way of putting it. It's complete. So
Yeah.
you didn't fail. You did whatever. There was just something else in you that you wanted to do with that.
Right.
That's awesome. So when you're talking with your clients or, you know, the people that want to work with you, that you want to work with, what are some of the things? Because I'm sure a lot of them are probably like in their shell or like not know where to do. Like, how do you kind of guide them into the direction that you feel that they should be going in?
Well, one of the main pieces is I guide them in the direction they really want to be going in. And that, getting a woman to actually speak out loud what she really, really wants, and I'll start them with, if you could have it any way you wanted it, if you had all the time in the world, because we already are like, oh, I don't have time to do that, or I don't have the money for that, or I can't, you know, I've not done that before. It's going to take too long. We start judging it before we even get to what it is we really want to do. And so we leave the possibility on the table. So that's first. It's really helping them by getting it in a space that's safe for them to say what it is they really, really want. Most of the women I work with have had some level of success, and they're either like stagnated and they really want to move up, or they're doing all they can and they can't go higher because they don't have another minute in their schedule. Mm-hmm. So they just think that's it. And it's not. That anything, if you can think it, it can happen. And it's like if you can dream it, you know, and believe it, you can achieve it. Mine is, if you can decide it and know it, it can happen.
I love it.
And that's where we start. We start with that real decision place, because that's where we get our priorities from. So I take them through that process first. It is about really, what is it you really, really want? And we go in all areas of their life and their business. And so we kind of get those done. We set intentions and goals all the time, just out of the air, like, that, you know, that, not really looking at what our real priorities are. Yeah. And then therefore we're doing things that in a more reactive way rather than proactive. And if we can start with all of the areas of our life and business and make real decisions about those, that gives you the courage and dedication to follow through. It's like a leveraging for that.
Yeah.
So that's how we start to get them there.
I like that, because it goes back to what you had originally said about, you know, you finally gave yourself time to do you, right? So
yes.
You put yourself first, because we all do it. And whether you've had some success or not, there's still 20 other things ahead of what you should be doing towards your business, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's aside. It's like, I got to get the kids to school. I got to make dinner. I got to go grocery shopping, whatever it might be. But like, so you gave yourself time to have you know, and that's
exactly.
And we do not do that.
No, and I like how you said that about the kids too, because a lot of times we're making judgments or decisions based on shoulds. That's the other word. We change should to could.
Yeah.
On shoulds that we think we're supposed to be doing, and it's really not in our, if I had it any way I wanted it, I would do it that way.
Absolutely.
And so going from there, it's like, well, if I'm not at every single game, like somebody may really want to be at the games because they not only enjoy watching their kid, but that's their time with their friends and they enjoy the sport. That's a real reason to be there. If it's because they think they should be, there may be a way for them to be doing what it is they should. What is it that you really want? Why would you want to be there? Well, I want my child to know I support them. Is that the only way you can let your child know you support them? Are there other ways you could let them know? Talk to your kiddos. Sometimes they're like, I don't even know if you're there or not. Like,
sure.
Support me. What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I'd rather you not be there. Can we just go do this instead?
It's true.
You know? So it's all these little things and I'm going to say we decide, but really it's this autopilot based on all our past experiences, culture, all of that our brain runs that little program, and we just keep moving along without ever questioning it. That's my phrase for this year, by the way. So January 1st is my birthday.
Okay.
And so I turned 59 on January 1st, and I was like, and it's 2020, right?
Right.
So I'm like, question it. And I've always been, in the past, I was the good little girl that always did what I was told, the little rule follower. Blah, blah. And so this year, it's question it. And it doesn't mean, you know, you don't have to be rude about questioning things. It's investigate. You know, it's, why am I doing that? Do I really want to be doing that? You know, I'm doing it in all areas, even like my health. Like, why am I eating this?
Yeah.
Like, what do I think this is really doing? You know, it's like just every little thing is kind of like, I've decided I want to be, it be empowered by my choice and my decision rather than just this autopilot.
Oh my God, you bring up such a good point with that too, because generational, very different, right? So it's, you just do as you're told, don't ask any questions, sit there, you know, I'm part of that too. And that's where, like, I always say, you know, you're supposed to go to school, then you're supposed to go work your corporate job until the day you die, or whatever comes first, and then live a miserable life. But, you know, the goal is that they always take care of you, right? Like, that's where you got your health insurance.
Exactly.
You know, buy your white picket fence house. Well, that's not how really, and how many people have been miserable over that time that we've
Oh my God,
right?
I know. Right?
And I love that you bring up question it though, because we really do need to question. We need to bring back our curiosity, right?
Yeah.
So just, why can't we just ask? Like you said, it's not rude to ask a question. You know, it's just like, why should I be eating 5 chips, or maybe I just want to eat 10 today? You know, anything that could just give you the power. But absolutely, I agree. It's something that we do need to take out of mind, and especially as women too, right? Women are not, I don't even care, honestly, what generation you're in. I think we still don't question it. Don't, especially if you're a girl, just do as you do. And
you're being too emotional if you're doing that. You're too bossy if you're doing that. You're too this. I mean, I have had a male hand in my face.
Wow.
As I asked a question. It was a huge meeting, New York City, real estate, huge meeting, all men and me. And they were going on because they'd always done it that way. Yeah. And I, in a normal tone, said, I'm curious, have we thought about looking at it from the standpoint of whatever, right? And I got a
wow.
brain explode.
Wow. Doesn't surprise me, unfortunately, but wow.
So yes, it's still, you know, that part, generationally, there is some. I am, and I know if you've got a 21-year-old, you're but I've got some millennial kiddos. I've got a 32-year-old.
Wow.
And I'm so appreciative of having kids. I've got one that's 132, 124, 122, and 118. And the older ones constantly question everything. And I would just be like, how dare you ask? Oh, no, you know, and then as we've gone through, they've really helped me to see that. Yeah. And then my 22 and 18-year-old, that special group of kiddos went through the have it all, lose it all. Yeah. And so they do question, but they've got a little more something in them that is this, I'm going to do this my way somehow, but I will explain how and why. Like, they will give me a little more, which is nice. Yeah. We kind of found a middle range. And I really appreciate that. But like you said, it doesn't matter the generation. Even my 18-year-old daughter, I'll find her still doing those things that women do, of the, you know, not stepping up or asking or questioning. And but my kids have taught me a lot about that. I homeschooled for a while. Never thought I would do that.
Me too. I just started.
No way. Even though I was a teacher, it was like, no, you've got to do this and have this. And I was like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was
I think
awesome.
they really get to learn the way they want to learn. And I
Oh
think
my
we've
God,
probably
yeah.
been like 10 steps ahead.
Exactly, exactly. So it's just even things like that.
Yeah.
Even as a teacher, I was like, no, you need to be at school for your socialization and your da, da, da. And it was
Right.
like, for these two of my kids, that really wasn't what was important for them.
Right. Right.
So
And
it's
the
been really
questioning
cool.
thing you bring up too, like especially because I'm teaching my kids. My oldest is very much the introvert, so he won't ask much of anything,
Yes.
even though he'll question it in his own mind. But the other two have definitely taken a step. They're more the vocal questioners, and which is why I recently have started homeschooling my third, because they didn't like that he was questioning quote unquote authority at school.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it was like I was supposed to sign off on something that said will not question when something happens, and I wrote on there, I'm like, if he's
No.
involved in something he's allowed to question, absolutely. I'm like, tell them no.
I
If
know.
you're blaming them for something, give me a break. I don't want him to have
Well,
that,
that's that gripping on
right,
to either the way we've always done it, like, or trying to control other people, which
right,
and this is the other, and it's a really a mainstay of my business, is that your job is to control you.
right,
Your job is to decide for you. And if you are doing that from a space of always connected to that higher energy, that love, source, God, whatever that is for
right,
you, if you're connected there, whatever decision you're making is going to have that high energy love around it, and it will be good for everyone. Even if your brain is telling you it may not, it will.
right,
I mean, clear communication's always best. Like,
yes,
you got to break up with somebody, it's better to do it and tell them than to hang on. Like, they could have been with somebody awesome, and there you are making, it's like, it will always be better for everyone
yeah,
when you take care of yourself from that space.
yeah, totally
And I
agree.
find that a lot is the sticking point for a lot of women, and getting them past that is a lot of the work.
It is, because it's just hard to what we think is just speaking up when it's just saying what you want and you're entitled to it. Like,
Exactly.
we don't really have to settle. And I think we just do a lot of settling, unfortunately.
Exactly. Well, and the other side of that is worrying about what other people,
Yes.
so not saying it because you think someone else might,
Yeah.
worrying about making them happy or what they're going to think. And, this thing about settling or hiding or self-abandoning ourselves based on what we're thinking about other people. And I'm a recovering people pleaser.
Oh,
And
oh yeah. Yeah, me here too. High five, Lydia.
it's like, that didn't help them.
No.
Like, when I see someone do that with me now, it just feels yucky.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I was doing that. Like,
No.
and it's just nice, clear communication is always best for everyone.
Yeah.
And going for what you want, like we said earlier, you don't know who you're inspiring by doing that. I cannot tell you the amount of people. I had both happen to me. When I left Austin to move to New York to be an actress, half of the people told me I was a horrible mother
Oh yeah.
for taking my children out of their safe suburban community into
Yeah.
the city where they were going to get killed by gangs.
Oh my.
And the other half were, oh my gosh, you've inspired me to go back and paint again. You've inspired me to ask for that promotion I really want. You've inspired me to, like, the other half was that. So it's up to me what I want to listen to or not listen to.
Right.
I need to make my decisions about myself. Neither one of those is a condition that needs to have me do anything different. But you never know, like, who you might really be inspiring by stepping up. And the more women that put themselves first, and my brain just went, not being greedy, not being selfish, which we're told so we can be held down. When we put ourselves first, more people benefit.
Right.
We make more money. We have more time. We're able to help more. We want to help. Women want to do that, but being a martyr is not helping anybody.
Right.
You know?
Totally agree.
So, yeah, it's a whole cycle.
I'm totally willing to do the whole hand holding around the world, and let's do it together. If you need me to hold your hand while you say it, let's hold your hand while you say it,
Exactly.
because we all need that. And
Exactly.
and we need the non-judgment. Like, I wish, I don't know how this world became such a judgment area, and why we became so judgmental, but it's insane. And we definitely need to get out of that and move forward and do what we're
Yeah, for
meant to do,
sure.
for crying out loud.
Well, and the word passion and mission have kind of lost their oomph. It's like
Yeah.
Myra's obsession in a Valley Girl kind of, I'm obsessed. It's like this piece of the thought that, the 100th monkey theory, like, once 100 of us do something and really are good at it, it just other people start. I mean, that's how the millennial way of doing things happened, because the generation before them started doing things differently than the generation before them. And they just came in that way.
Yeah.
And the more women that step up for themselves and start doing that, they'll be happier. They've got happier families. More women will do it. And then at some point, the dream is that's how women come into the world,
Right?
and stay that way. And what better mothers will be, sisters, daughters, friends, partners, business women. It's good for everyone. It will help men by the women taking care of themselves and making these decisions on their own.
Absolutely. So true. Because if you think about the shift that happened, so here we are, women had to stay at home, right? And be the stay-at-home mom, cook, clean, the June cleavers. Then they started going into the workforce, and we had to, wear the suits, and then we still had to work, men might have done the 40 hours, but women were doing the 60 hours.
Yep.
And still going home and raising their kids and whatever else they had to do it in the house. So
yeah,
it's just the fact that we feel that we have to do it in the same way that a man does it in order to be utilized as like successful.
Yes.
It's just mind-boggling. I mean,
yes,
like you say, just here I can make my own hours, I can make my own time, however I want to develop my world to do this stuff and be happy and not have to work 5,000 hours a week and, have anxiety and whatever else comes with it. What a world it will be.
It will. That is, and I love that you pointed out the way that men do it. And I think I always, I wanted daughters. That's what so I have 3 boys, right? And I adopted a daughter. But I have had the blessing, I've been married twice. And so I've had the blessing of having 2 men plus my 3 men in my life. And I was I was the oldest. So I was kind of the father's daughter type, where the power, I watched what men did and I followed it. And raising them, I was always with curiosity. Why are you doing it? Like, I don't get, why do you do that? Like, and it really is like, I have a way that's innately more natural for me, which is a feminine way of doing things. I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Male systems and structures are great. Like, that masculine energy is great, but I need to be over here in my feminine energy first and let it lead me to that masculine energy. That's another real cornerstone of my coaching, is really having women. It's this push, massive action. It's inspired action. It's that get the inspiration, that creative inspiration. And then what you're doing takes half the time, half the effort, and you get on to the next thing you want to do. It's like awful.
I love it. And you are so right, because I have a house full of boys myself. So girls and boys do think differently. It's a fact. I don't, everyone can get mad at me or whatever, but it is clearly a fact. I live through it every day, and there's nothing wrong with it, because you need both sides of the coin.
Yes.
But we do think differently. We have different perspectives of doing things, and that's what makes the world go round too. But there is a difference. Like, where's the peanut butter? On the shelf. Where? I don't know.
Yes. And I think also it's a lot of what we're having to do, our generations are having to do, is retrain ourselves on some of this that was culturally taught to us that we were supposed to do. So if we're the helper, then we let our men get away with not finding the peanut butter.
Yes.
We pointed out, oh, it's right over there next to the duck. They know they don't have to look.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to. I'm going to tell them where, and so I think a lot of it is our reconditioning ourselves back into what's really my business and what's not my business.
Yeah. It's a hard reconditioning. It really is.
It's deep
hard.
neuro pathways. That's really deep neuro pathways in our brain programming that tell us if we do it some way different, we're going to die.
Yeah.
Literally. That's what our brain, that's why we feel that fear crimp up and we don't move forward. But we're meant to expand and we're meant to change and grow. And that works against it. That's why only going with thinking, it won't get you anywhere.
No, I agree. You have to go. That's the other thing too. You have to trust your instinct and your gut in anything that you do.
Yes.
And every time I go against it, I smack myself in the forehead.
I mean, how many times do we have to be shown that?
Right.
With ourselves, like we show it to us over, but society says, no, do it this way. So this is my thing about working within the real estate industry. There's many that are very masculine industries, and real estate is one of those. And really good-hearted brokers and team leaders that really want the best for their realtors stay really in that masculine system of how this is done.
Yeah.
And instead of encouraging the women in the industry to do it in their way, where they would make more money and more, they don't know that way. That's not something they would know. And then we end up with hardly any women in broker positions, owner positions, and team lead positions.
Right.
And I know that several of the larger brands have tried many different ways to get women's leadership within real estate. Why do they have to try so hard at that? Like, women want to be leaders. Why would that? It's because the whole system is not letting them do that. They're trying to listen to their broker, their team lead, and do it that way. And it doesn't work for a woman.
Yeah. I worked in the insurance industry for a long time. I was on the IT level, but the same thing. I mean, there's not a lot of women, and the ones that are there keep trying to trudge through the men's world, and when they're good at their job, but just how much easier could it be?
Yeah, absolutely. Finance, tech, law, government, even in public schools.
Oh my God, yeah.
Which is a government entity, but is what, 80-something% women, is still run in a masculine way.
Yeah.
Because most of the superintendents, most of the principals, most of the leaders are men.
You're right.
And it's cracking open the way we do things and allowing the way to be a little different.
Yes.
And I could talk about this stuff all day.
Me too. I'm so glad that we're talking, because I totally could talk about this all day long, because it's so true. And it's like, and all we have to do is let other people know, and hopefully by watching this video that they're going to see, like, we're here for you. We're going to help you crack that code, or just hold your hand in order for you to say it until you're comfortable to continue to say it by yourself. And not to say that we can do it every day, because I'm sure
it's constant.
You constantly have to, it's a thought. Like, it doesn't just come out. Like, you have to think about doing it. It really is still a change.
Absolutely. I mean, I was talking to one of my kids the other day, and I got all in that. I was like, what am I doing? I don't really care about this. What's going on? It's like, oh, you're afraid this is going to happen, so you're trying to control crap again that's not your business.
Right.
It's like, okay. And it's just all kinds of pieces. What's been really cool now is kind of diving into some areas of my life I haven't done this with. And that's been really interesting. It's like, okay, I trust it in this little compartment, but will I do it in this one? And really pushing that and doing that. But you're absolutely right, because that deep neural pathway, it depends on how long you've been doing it, how emotional it was for you when it happened. So if you had a traumatic event, or if something happened in a way that was such a shock, it's deeper. Yeah. It takes longer. It's harder to fill in. And how long you've lived, you've got that many years of getting this way. It's going to take a little while. And then it's still coming at you.
Yep. It's that whole people pleasing thing. I don't care whether you're identified as a people pleaser or not. We all are just that people pleaser, right? So it comes back to, I always think in my own mind. So again, here I am, 47 years old, right? My parents are still alive, but I still go to them like, can I say that to them? Is it like, I mean, for crying out loud, I was married and was still afraid to tell my dad I was having a baby. It's like, I mean,
he might know what you were doing.
not that, but like, you don't have enough money. You didn't have the house yet,
I know.
that type of stuff. Like you weren't set up like you're supposed to be set up,
Well, and that's a really awesome point. One of the things that I told you I had a training earlier today. And one of the things that we were talking about was once they make this decision of whatever this thing is, and they know that it's done, they haven't started doing anything with it, it's just the decision's done. And so they know is to really share it with someone so that it's out there. And I made the caveat though, be sure it's a cheerleader. Yeah. It's, it's someone safe. It's someone that is going to say, go you, and not question you. Yeah. I even have a friend of mine that like, I'll be like, okay, I just made a decision. And all I want you to say is, oh my God, that's so awesome. And I'll say it and she'll go, oh my God, that's so awesome.
I love it.
Because it just anchors it in even more in your brain.
Yeah.
When you tell someone. So it's an important activity, but it's also, if you've got something you really want, you've made a decision, and there are going to be some people that that's not how they live, it's best to kind of let them be and do your thing until you're really clear and certain and in your own empowerment about it before you do. That way, when you're clear and in your empowerment, people hear it. Do you hear my voice go lower just then?
Yeah, right. You went to the
get down in that solar plexus.
Take charge now. And you bring up a very good point. It's kind of crazy. Like while I'm doing these videos and I'm doing these interviews, it seems like however you guys, the universe, put you all together, it's like I'm back to back with certain people. Because like earlier I was talking to she's a former teacher as well.
Oh my God.
It is crazy. And then
awesome.
It's totally awesome. And we were kind of talking about a little bit of the same direction, but yeah, it's just, again, we were talking about like how you need to find your cheerleading crew, right?
Yes.
So you need to find whoever those safe people are in order to help you get through this. And wherever you need to find them, they don't have to be in your immediate circle down the block.
No.
Who you need to talk to. You might need to go to that internet, that Facebook, wherever it is that you find them, and let down your guard. And it's okay to let down your guard there, even if they say no. But I bet you'll probably find somebody that says yes. And then you have somebody to talk to, and then that's your safe place.
It's super important. You can do it without, it's just, I'm all about what is easier and faster because that gives me more time, because I love my time and I want to be spending it doing exactly what I want, not dealing with your issues,
Right.
And it's like, if I love you, then I do, and I tell you, and I know that you're going to have issues, then I'm dealing with that. One of the other things I do that I've been doing it more and more lately is kind of make a decision about that discussion before the discussion is had.
Yeah.
So I'll go into if I could have it any way I wanted it, and I'll play out the discussion exactly how I would want it to go and how I would feel. And then I would decide that, and that's done. And when I get on the phone or in front of them, every time I pre-pave that way, it goes better somehow than it would have. I did that with a business discussion this last week. And even though the content was not the content I had decided I would have liked it, I still didn't get all riled up about it. I didn't get upset. I didn't get scared. I just was able to really hear it and be like, no, it's this. Let me tell you clearly what it is. And the whole thing went awesome. So even if the content was uncomfortable, the conversation went way better than I could have expected. So it's even making decisions about those things.
Yeah.
It's like once you feel like some fear coming up, once you think you're settling somewhere, once you feel like you're kind of hiding from something, get in and make a good old strong decision about it, get real clear on it, and receive that for yourself.
Yeah.
Because that will at least get the momentum headed in that direction for you. Then you're into the allowing part, which is the day-to-day, like you said, it's this day-to-day work on it.
Yeah.
And it really, where you can let that in and receive it, which is the other thing that women are not only not trained to do, literally told not to do.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
That's where it's better to give than receive.
Yes, we're not supposed to take anything. Exactly. Absolutely. We're just
Wonder who
giving it all
came
away.
up with that one.
Yeah. I wonder. Oh my God, this is awesome. These are some wonderful tools and tips and I hope everybody is able to like bring them in and embrace them and really help. I mean, even if you, like you said in the last, even if you stay that conversation to yourself, if you think you're weird, then go find that friend again who tells you, just listens and takes it, and they don't need to rebuttal anything, be the rebuttal. They just need to listen so you can get it out to there and feel comfortable about getting it out there.
And you know how it is once you say it out loud, it's like a whole different thing than what's going on up in here.
Oh, totally.
When you're saying it.
It's
and
not
when you say it out loud to another person, then you've gone through really what you've done. Once you've gotten that decision, you kind of filled in that neural pathway gap a little bit. And then when you got to that really clear knowing yourself, it filled it up a little more. And then when you tell someone else, your brain is kicking in, watching for fear and stuff.
Yeah.
And when it goes well, it fills in a little more. So the next time you do it, it will be easier.
Yeah, those are great points. Absolutely. Yeah. Like practice makes perfect, right?
Exactly.
Yes, phenomenal. I totally love this. This is great. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
So what was the last thing that inspired you?
There's just like so many in my day. I will say one that's a big one that has inspired me is my daughter. She has had a lot of contrast in her life. Yes, we adopted her from Russia. Okay. She's had a lot of things in her life that were really hard for her. And she is 18 and she's a senior in high school, and we had moved and she wanted to go back to one of the high schools she had been to where most of her friends were and finish her senior year there. And so I said, if you can figure out a way to do it, then you can do it. But if you leave the house, you've left the house. Like, that's the deal. This isn't, oh, I'm going to try this and I'll come back. No, this is it.
Yeah.
And she did within a few weeks. She's there. She's in her last semester of school. There was a point we didn't even know she would ever graduate.
Wow.
And she's making A's. She got on the wrestling team this year.
For her.
Did that, she's living on her own. And I am just so inspired by her going for what she wants. She was really afraid. There was a lot of fear still there, but she just did it anyway. And just when she also will ask for help when she needs it. And it's just been I've just been so inspired by her. It's like, wow, like you did this and you're doing this. And at 18, I don't think I could have done that.
I was gonna say, like, I'm a complete chicken. I was talking with a lady or a gal last week, and I think she's 26, and she has lived in like 50 different places already, around the world. And I'm like, I'm a chicken to leave. I'll go visit, but like to go by myself or to travel, I never would have done that. I can't even say that I would do that now. Here's my big fear. It's that safety thing. Can I get out of that other country? I need to make it back to the United States.
Yes.
So the fact that, and what I kind of attributed to is the fact that like you have had a mind shift, and like I'm trying to teach my kids too, right? So had we gone and done the same thing, she probably wouldn't have done it.
Oh, yeah. She was such a doll. When I dropped her off, we were both bawling. And she said, now I want you to just sit and listen through. Let me get it all out. And I was like, okay. And through her tears was saying that to me. And it,
oh, that's beautiful. That's awesome. And I'm glad that people have women like us, or hopefully everyone listening to is open to making those changes and just teaching our kids that there are other ways, and it's okay if they question it or go a different way. I always say just whatever makes you happy.
Yes.
Just go and follow that instinct, and whatever makes you happy, even if it's 10 different things that make you happy.
Exactly.
Just go and do it. Like, enjoy it while you can, because you never know how long this journey is going to take. So
exactly.
Keep doing it.
And it's your life. Like, there's nobody else here that gets to have ownership of your life,
Right.
except you.
Right.
And so therefore it is your responsibility how happy you are, what you're doing, and your decisions you're making. So yeah, it's super important.
That's awesome. Good for her. That's an exciting
Yeah.
story. I mean, seriously, how inspiring is that? An 18-year-old who's still in the high school environment that went and did this and is like just totally excelling at it too.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and hopefully without the stress. It sounds like she's like doing it on her own terms, so she's not stressed
She
out about doing it all.
she gets a little stressed. She's
Oh,
forgotten some things. There were some awesome natural consequences for some things.
Okay.
So it was like, what are you going to do? And she was like, but I don't have oh no, what are you going to do? Like, you're not here. I would have taken care of that, but you're there.
Yeah.
She had to figure, it's like, where's the peanut butter on the shelf, right? Like she had to figure out how to do it. And she did, which was like super cool.
That's awesome. Well, I'm sure you gave her the right tool. So that's
yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, poor child. I went to see her a couple of weeks ago. She said, "Oh, I've made my intentions for 2020." I was like, "Oh my God, the child of a life coach." You know?
I was gonna say those are pretty good.
I'm going to do this. I'm going to up level my this. You know, it was hysterical. I was like, "Oh my God."
Don't you love it that they're listening? Like you're probably just spouting it out, not even realizing it, but they're actually listening and like sucking it in. I love it.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Oh, that's great. So this is the time I allow you to put me on the hot seat. If you'd like, you can ask me a question of your choice and I'll answer.
Well, I want to know your multipotentialite timeline.
Like, what I've done? Oh God. Let's see, how far back do I want to start? So, I mean, I've been working since I've been 15, you know, did the whole Burger King, nanny, all that stuff. I wasn't the person that went to high school and then went off to college because I love to learn, but I don't like learning in a classroom.
Gotcha.
So I didn't go off to college. Plus, I didn't know what the heck I wanted to do. So, you know, thinking back and like what you talked about, I wasn't one that I follow it to a certain T, right? But I would definitely do things a little bit differently than the normal peers, right? So I didn't go off to college. So I was a nanny for a few years after high school, you know, and then, which is great. I love this family. And then I'm like, oh, well, it's time to make a little bit more money. You're getting a little bit older, you know, you got to get health insurance. So then that's when I kind of went to the corporate world. And, you know, you start out as the receptionist, the admin assistant,
you worked your way up.
Sales. Yeah. And these are different companies that I bounced. And by the end, like I said, I worked for fine chemical companies, insurance companies. The end, I was working for an insurance brokerage house. Started there as an admin, and then I've always had an IT kind of hand, so I jumped into the IT from
Lucky
there.
you.
It was pretty good. So there's two of us. I worked really well with my partner, so we had a man-girl team going on, but we worked really well together. You know, did about 200 employees, 3 different offices, so it worked out well. Awesome. And so I did that. God, I want to say it was about 10 years, something like that. 7-10 years, I think I was there. God, time just like sucks all in, right? So I did that, and but in between, right? So I'm one of those, like, there's something else. So I'm doing that. So I'm doing all the direct marketing, right? So I'm like, I'm going to make my million somewhere. I got to get out of here. I know this isn't what I want to do. So of course, did all that. They went nowhere because they're not truly my passion.
Right.
Then after that, I went into a sales position with one of my vendors. So we were doing the scanning software stuff. So I went into that, and then he was great as a vendor. As a boss, is a complete jerk.
Oh no.
So that lasted for about a year, and then he doesn't like anybody. So then it was like, I'm just gonna let him fire me. Like, I was never one of those. Like, I'm just gonna let him fire me, even though I have 3 kids. I'm the sole provider. I'm just gonna let him fire me, and I'm gonna collect unemployment.
Yeah, then I've got something to live on.
Like, I'm just going to do it. Like, I've been working all these years. I have to be able to live on unemployment, right? So he did that. And with that, it was great. So I kind of just, you know, trying to figure out, I'm still dividing what I want to do. And then within that, one of my son's mothers, who I became friends with, she was kind of tinkering at like starting her own business. She kind of had this online presence going on, but wanted to take it to a different level.
Right.
So with that, I helped her build that one. We teach geography enrichment to children in schools or after school programs and stuff, because as you know, as a teacher, they don't do that in school. We don't know where anything is in the world. They don't know oceans exist. So we've had a lot of fun doing that. And, you know, there's always that, well, I kind of still want to do my own thing. So with that, I started out with like, oh, I can do an online boutique, but I need money to do an online boutique. So I'm going to sell t-shirts because I'm creative and I know how to do that. So I had my t-shirt biz for about 2.5 years. And then I'm like, God, this is really boring, printing t-shirts. So I like the creative part of it, but actually doing it was very boring.
Right. Right.
And then my next step was here, where I'm like, I was taking one of those coaching type classes or seminars and whatnot. And, you know, one of the questions in it was proposed, you know, ask the people around you, you know, if you're not sure where to go, ask the people around you what they think you're good at.
Right.
So I did that. And I was just blown away by the types of answers that came back, because they were literally all the same from people in different aspects of my life.
Oh, wow.
These weren't the people in the same, you know, none of these
Right,
people hung out together. And I was like, wow, like I always felt that I had those particular talents.
Yeah.
And it's mostly about listening, helping people through things, resources and stuff. And I'm like, really? You see that? Like, that's what you think of me? And they're like, oh my God, yeah. So they wrote all that. And I was like, well, this is what I need to do. So that's how my business Caprice Marie developed in my workshops and being a business mentor. It's just because I really do enjoy working with women and just having that light bulb moment. So I'm like kind of your hand holder. Like,
right.
You've started it, you know what you want to do, but you're really just not sure like how to take that next step because you've watched the videos and so forth. So it's just me explaining to you, getting it out of your head, and then you physically know how to do it and get it forward. So when nobody's there, you know how to do it.
Yes,
So
you've got somebody there. So it takes that that security piece where you can't really move out, and you've got a nice secure foundation. Now you can move.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't have a ground under you, if you're standing in quicksand, you can't do anything. You can't go anywhere.
Absolutely.
So having that there really helps that. That's awesome.
So it's just that teaching thing I think that I've always kind of had, you know, through training and so forth. But I like seeing people like get it, because I know how I feel when I get it.
Yes.
So just doing that and having them, you know, be like, oh, I totally got it now. And like I said, I could say it one way, you could say it one way, and they could get it in two totally different ways. So being able to connect with that person on so many different levels and to be able to, you know, get them to understand it is just yay. That's what I love about it.
Awesome.
So that's my crazy journey over the last 47 years. Doesn't it feel like I shouldn't have done so many of these?
It doesn't sound crazy, because wait till you watch the TEDx talk. You're going to be like, oh yeah, I did all that. And I did it that way.
Yeah. It totally though gave me a lot of different perspectives and insights, and like in business as well too, because everything was about business where I was at. So it wasn't like I was like doing a library aid or something like that. I was always in the business industry sucking up those different parts of that information.
Exactly.
It was really
there's a common thread that's run through everything, which is what everybody was telling you that they saw in you. Yeah. And that all had come. But you had also gathered skills along with what you already did. You gathered skills along the way in the areas that really interested you.
Yeah.
And so you're just kind of growing and growing. And it looked like it wasn't, but it really was this awesome trajectory for you. So.
And in between there, I actually went back to school. So after I had 3 kids, was working full time, that's when I decided to go back to school and finish my degree.
That's awesome. I did a small stint. You were talking earlier about how, you know, women used to have to stay home, then they had to go to work, and I wanted to be a stay-home mom.
Yeah.
And it was in the, you know, early to mid 80s. And my friends were horrified because, what do you mean? You're not one of them. Like, you get to go work. And I'm like, I really want to spend some time home with my babies.
Yeah.
You're like, how dare you? We worked so hard to get here. I'm like, you worked hard to get here so I could choose what I wanted to do.
Good point. That's very good. Choices. Like that's my, I was going to say that's my 2020 word is choices. I've yet to figure out my word, but choices keeps coming up. Like,
really
realize that we have them.
Yeah. And so I did have a kind of small, I'm going to say maybe about, I worked part-time through the whole thing anyway. So I was working, but it's like, I did at least have some time where I was the crazy stay-home suburban mom who was, you know, PTA and book club and every sport my kids were, you know, it was a little bit of nuts for a while.
Yeah.
But that's why I went back to work. It was too much. I was just filling my time with crap because I wasn't working. And so it was like, but I did enjoy getting to be there when they were little. That was really cool. So
that's always very cool. Yeah. That's awesome. This is such a great conversation. I'm so glad that we were able to connect and learn. And I'm so excited for everyone else to learn about you. So where can they find you?
Okay, so my rebooted website is in the middle of the reboot. So
Okay.
you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Darla Delayne.
Perfect.
So DarlaDelayne. And if you're interested in getting great at decision making, that little course is still open. It's a bit.ly/the decision escalator. And you can still get in and do that, watch some of the replays. We're kind of in the middle of it right now. But so right now I am heavy duty hitting the social media tracking. I'd been off for so long. I'm like, hi.
You like the social media, huh?
Been on since 2009. I was acting at the time, and they were like, "You've got to have a big following to get." So I was one of the first. My producing partner and I were one of the first women producing, directing teams that put an episodic on YouTube. So we did. We had like TV shows on YouTube. And so I've been on for a long time, and I didn't realize how much I missed it when I was kind of off of it for a while. So that's where I am right now. And I'm working on, this is kind of fun. This is what I've been coaching everybody else on. So refreshing my branding and it's kind of fun. I'm having a good time with it.
Yeah, it's kind of like you said, like a reboot, right? So
it is.
rebooting really cool. Myself too.
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Well, good. I hope everyone comes out and checks you out and finds you, definitely, because you have a lot of wonderful energy and a great vibe. Thanks. So again, I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to speaking with you another time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was a blast.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so excited that so many people are going to be tuning in, and we're going to have so many wonderful stories with so many women. So
yeah, awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for participating and telling your story too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye, Darla.
Bye.